and welcome to the Tree Off the Tee podcast. And delighted to bring you this episode on a historic occasion, the 150th Open Championship from St Andrews. And I'm once again joined, obviously, by my co-host and great pal, Ian St. John, and also by Greg Allen, RT's golf correspondent. Good evening, gents. How are we?
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to St Andrews.
Yeah, and what a magic day it was. I'm sure you've got a bit of sunburn out there today as well, Greg. Unusually for July.
Pretty cloudy here actually today. And I was looking to interview Irish players as I normally do, so I only really glimpsed the ceremonial event that was going on, which saw what I saw of it. It seemed very, very, very enjoyable for the fans that came today, and it really did work as a nice kickstart to the week, even if it was without Greg Norman. But then that's another story.
Yeah, it sure is, Ian. What did you? We'll pause briefly on that. What did you think of that last week? Right decision, wrong decision, bit harsh on a two-time Open champion. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, Arya. Maybe he should have been there. I mean, it's he's the Open champion twice. He's one of the most famous players in the last 30, 40 years, and he's not there. I know the whole LIV organization and everything that it kind of that's surrounding it is people from the outside would say maybe he's attacking, maybe people on the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour say he's attacking them. I don't really know what to make of the whole thing. I don't like it, but I just want golf to be the way it is. But then again, things changed. I see there was, when I suppose in the last, was it yesterday or the day before, these rumors of Jordan Spieth going, I think my heart really sunk then. I went, no, surely he wouldn't do it. And I was just glad to see that he came out today and said absolutely no way he won't be doing it. So that's encouraging. Yet then, we Brooks Koepka saying only a couple of months ago that he wasn't going, and then right after the US Open he hops, and he said he basically just made the decision that day. So I don't know. I'd say, look, if we could nearly focus more on the golf that is there today. I mean, I was saying to you, Harry, and I'll tell you now, Greg, obviously, it's like I just turned on the Celebration of Champions. I didn't even realize it was going to be on. I saw it there popped up on Sky Go, so I said I'd have a look. And I literally see Nicholas coming off the back, and the first person I see after that is Harry. And so I immediately tried to get a screenshot of Harry, because typically, Harry is right in the middle of it. So Harry sends me back a picture.
Only doing my job, Ian. Only doing my job. No, we were lucky for radio to be out on the first tee and see them all tee off, and then we kind of obviously hung there because it was only 4 holes, and see them all come up the last as well. But very special event. In fairness, fantastic to see people from all angles of golf, men, women, people from the disability sector as well, which was brilliant to see.
Saw that, yeah.
Amazing. Saw Paragolf Machine Ian as well. A lady from Denmark had that. Yeah, just brilliant to see it. Greg, what did you make of it? It was really a celebration today, wasn't it?
I didn't see as much as you did, Harry. As I said, I was chasing Irish players, so I'm afraid I was working on the periphery of it. But no, I mean, it was a very enjoyable event for the spectators.
Yeah,
Greg, while we have you, I'm going to literally give this about 2 minutes, because I've been trying to just get your thoughts on the whole LIV golf, and I know it's the celebration, I know it's the Open Championship. We'll get to that, but your brief thoughts on the whole run of events, because we just haven't had the time to chat to you over the last couple of months.
Well, it's here to stay. It's not going to go away. It's not ideal because it's obviously going to split some of the better players away from the PGA Tour. But the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, they're not amalgamated by any means, but they are now very much more working together on a world schedule, which is interesting. I mean, last week, the idea that the PGA Tour had a subsidiary event like the Barbasol Championship running opposite the Scottish Open, which meant that the Scottish Open was the big event on the PGA Tour last week. In the same way as events like the Barbasol or the Punta Cana Championship on the PGA Tour, which are, relatively, semi PGA Tour sized events. They would normally run alongside maybe a World Golf Championship. So that's the status that the Scottish Open was given last week. And as a result, it had a vastly improved field than it's ever had before. In fact, it was the highest world ranking points for a European Tour event, a DP World Tour event in the history of the European Tour, DP World Tour. So that in itself has already precipitated a very the live scenario has precipitated this amalgamation. Well, it's not an amalgamation, but this arrangement, an agreement, a strategic alliance between the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, and it's fast forwarded it somewhat, and that's good. So some good's coming out of live. I don't think it's a concept that I agree with, or I don't have to like it. I have to report on it. I don't think they've done themselves a huge amount of favors by having a frontman who, is not going about anything diplomatically, or he seems to have a feeling that everything that is being done in terms of the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour amalgamating to sort of mitigate against what is doing. He seems to think that there's something desperate or wrong about it. But they're the disruptor. Live are the disruptor. You can't expect the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour to just do nothing. So they're doing something, and a lot of it's not to the liking of Greg Norman or Liv. And so we're just in a scenario now which is like a war that's going on in golf. And as Rory McIlroy hinted in his interview with Stephen Watson at BBC Northern Ireland last week in Adair, peace talks might be the right way of going about this, and actually just accepting that Liv are going to be around and finding a way of coexisting in whatever way is going to advance the game. And Liv keep talking about growing the game. Well, maybe it's time to sit down and talk about how to do that rather more diplomatically than is being done right now. You see, you asked me a difficult question and I give you a long answer. I'm sorry.
No, but
I'm not going to sit on the fence, but at the same time, I'm not going to, say nothing. It's very difficult what's happening right now, and golf is seriously disrupted.
Harry, what do you think? I mean, 54 holes, shotgun starts. They're looking for now, I suppose, World Golf Championship, World Ranking points.
Well, that remains to be seen, and I suppose the powers that be that govern the majors in particular, they're the ones that are really going to have a certain say as to how this plays out going into next season, shall we say? But it's a massive threat. It's a massive disruption. As Greg so rightly said, it's not going anywhere. Do I like it or like everything that's been kind of said or proposed? Not particularly, but I can understand some players' reasons for going. Not the majority. That's for certain, sure. But look, it's very interesting times, and I think while we've reached the juncture this week of the last men's major of the season, there's a lot more is going to unfold with this particular story over the remaining months of summer into autumn. But it's intriguing, and look, obviously PGA Tour and DP World Tour will do everything within their power to protect the products that they have. But it's a very difficult situation when there's that much money involved, and money does strange things to people, I suppose. So
it does.
It's hard to know really what else to say on it now until we see more,
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how it plays out. Look, we're talking about the 150. We're at St. Andrews, right? I can't wait. I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow morning to get over there, so I just can't wait to be there. But I suppose a lot of the talk and the lead up to this championship, I suppose in the last number of years, has been, would that St. Andrews be a stern test? It looks like the golfing gods are going to shine on it this week, if I'm right or incorrect, or maybe I'm not, with the fact that we have what looks like going to be 22, 23 degrees, rock hard fairways. I'm sure they're going to tuck those flags away even more. Is this the defense that it would probably have?
They'll have to get the wind that's forecast. It blew quite firmly today for a while, and it certainly was the type of links wind that you need around here, maybe even a bit more, but certainly 15 to 18 miles an hour of wind is what's forecast for some of the 4 days. It is firm and fast. It's not as firm and fast as it has been, but it's browning up quite nicely. It'll get warmer. How long that weather will last, we'll see. But yes, it has to play the way it's playing right now. I mean, a soft St Andrews, a green St Andrews, a bit like, say, Hoylake in 2014 when Rory won there. If it was like that, I think St Andrews would be absolutely vulnerable to 22 or 24 under par winning score, which would, obliterate the current record and probably see something in the region of a 61, 62, maybe even lower, who knows, if it was green. But it's not, it's firm. And if they do tuck the pins away, which they will, they have to. It's the only defense that it has. At just over 7,300 yards, it doesn't play 7,300 yards because it's firm and fast. That's one of the trade-offs with getting firm and fast. Firm and fast means control of the ball around the flags on these massively undulating greens is going to be tricky, but it also means that the ball runs for miles, which means that there are also 4 par 4s on the course which are drivable. It doesn't necessarily mean they're all drivable in the same wind conditions, but they could well be driven at some stage during the course of the tournament, all 4 of those par 4s. So, you're looking at the course possibly being a par 69 for some of these players, par 70. And then that brings into the equation the number 59, which has never been done in a major. As we know, 62 is the major championship record by Brandon Grace and Birkdale back in 2017. And I think that record is going to be matched and probably broken this week. I see that happening. And because if it doesn't happen here, this is probably the one major where it could happen.
Harry, your thoughts? You were out there today.
Yeah, it was. It was a gorgeous day, gorgeous links day. The wind kind of picked up from maybe about somewhere like midday onwards, and it blew quite nicely there in the afternoon for that champion celebration. But look, Greg is right. The defence has to be, I suppose, the pin positions is the only defence, and the hope that we do get, kind of wind, of the strength of that magnitude of 15 plus, I suppose, to have some effect. But, when you see it playing as short as it is because of the firmness of the fairways, when I walked the front 9 this morning, holes like 4 and like 5, 5's the par 5 with that 100-yard long green, and yet there's guys there in practice this morning, like absolutely hitting it miles down there and going in with a very short iron, like a 9-iron. So, okay, that wind was kind of down off the left-hand side, a southerly wind, around midday today. But look, it remains to be seen, what the wind will do, and there's no doubt they'll have to tuck away the flags. But I kind of agree with Greg, like it's definitely the potential for that very low score is out there. You'd hope not to see it kind of reach, in the 20s under par by the end of the week. I think if you look at the last kind of 3 or 4 stagings of the Open, you're kind of talking somewhere between maybe 13 and 16 under maybe, and like that's a very good, reasonable winning score. I don't think we really want to see 23 or 25 under win this thing, but look, in one way, the weather and the sunshine and a bit of breeze will be perfect links conditions, but with the quality of field that you have and the talents that they have, we're in danger of seeing some very low scores here this week. But look, who knows what the weather will bring, and if you're not accurate out there, the rough is still juicy enough in spots. Yes, it's obviously drying out and will continue to do so throughout the week, but there's enough kind of juicy spots there as well that control for those second shots, if you don't find the fairways, will be difficult, and that will be the key point then, I suppose. But look, a very exciting week to look forward to, an historic Open back at St Andrews, and they're all here.
We've Tiger in the field as well, and he was here in Ireland last week as well, so we just briefly, I suppose, touch off that. The fact that he was at the JP McManus, I watched the interview afterwards. I think it was on Monday, and I see, Greg, you were asking a question. How did you find it the whole couple of days?
JP McManus was an amazing event. It is what it is. It's a pro am. It's not anything to be taken too seriously in terms of the golf that's played, and not necessarily taken too seriously in terms of Tiger Woods shooting 77, 74, dipping his toe back in semi-competitive golf for the first time since mid-May. I think that Tiger will be ready enough for the challenge that's going to face him this week. He knows his way around here as well as anybody, if not better than anybody in the field. He shot 19 under back in 2000. So goodness knows if he can shoot 19 under in 2000 on a baked hard course where he avoided all the bunkers. It's certainly not a matter of the physical game that he needs to be in brilliant shape. It's much more the thinking game, the putting game, which wasn't great in the last major that he played in. His putting is not really where he needs it to be. I think his physical game and his walking will not be challenged here because it's flat and it's firm. Comfortable shoes, a 5 mile walk, which is what it is. Basically, I don't think that's going to be that difficult for him. Not like it was at Augusta with the hills, which are, much more than you see on television. Southern Hills isn't called Southern Hills for nothing. It was gruelingly difficult in terms of walking for, the length of period that he had to over 5.5 hours. For the first 2 days, he would have experienced 90 degrees of heat Fahrenheit. That's about 30 to 32 degrees centigrade. So that was pretty grueling in Southern Hills. And then on Saturday, he got really cold weather, like really cold by Oklahoma standards. It was only 12 degrees. So he really suffered in that on Saturday, and then he withdrew. So I don't think he has any of those scenarios facing him this week. There are a lot of people talking about, will this be the last time Tiger Woods plays in an Open in St. Andrews? I think that there's an element that he realizes that might be the case. Certainly, it's the last time I think he'd be playing in an Open in St. Andrews while being a force or a potential force in the game. But adding up all of those things, the injury, does he have a chance? I don't think so, personally. But then again, I never thought he was going to win the Masters in 2019. I never thought he was going to come back from, what he came back from to do that. And Tiger loves nothing more than an impossible challenge. And here he faces one that's a near impossible challenge. And you know what? It would not surprise me one iota if he is on the leaderboard on Sunday with a chance to win, because this is a course he knows so well. It's a thinker's course. He's a great thinker around the golf course. His physical game, it just has to be okay. But his putting has to be better than it was certainly the last time that he turned up at a major championship.
Harry, who do you think is going to be up there come Sunday?
That's a good question, Ian. It's a really good question. I think Shane Lowry has to really fancy his chances, to be honest. I think he's in obviously great form. Backed that up with very good performance in Mount Juliet a couple of weeks ago. I know, as Greg said, 2 days in Adair Manor in that format doesn't mean a whole lot, but still, he played super golf down there as well. I just think he's still very much in the prime of his golfing career. The hunger is there, the results are there, the desire is there. For me, Shane Lowry is still very much mixing it at the top end of these tournaments, and I just think back on links golf with the form that he's in at the moment, I have to give him a really good chance this week. Look, there's loads of others that you could scoop for, and obviously, look, Xander is in a nice purple patch over the last few weeks. He's kind of broken through, I suppose, really, and getting those back-to-back wins, and obviously the win down, and we'll give it 3 in a row if we include the 2-day Pro Am down in Limerick as well. But look, there's so much talent out here. It's very hard to pick winners, as we know, from trying to have our little €5 each way every now and then, Ian. But I'll stick with Lowry. I like him to really have a good chance this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fitzpatrick Zalatoris. I think we could have another battle there. I thought it was amazing. I think Zalatoris just has to get something out of this year, and it has to be a major. I just think he might show up and do something. And Fitzpatrick just might be the guy that's there to hold him off again, or the other way around. But Greg, any more? I know you're under pressure to go, sir, at your other commitments. Any other people you kind of look at fancy to play? I know you normally don't go into that sort of area, but is there anyone there that you're looking at going, I kind of fancy him?
I think that there's 156 players who can win the Open. And I knew he was going to say it. I knew. I mean, like Paul Dunn was leading here after 16 holes of the third round on his own as an amateur, two months before he turned pro in 2015. And I mean, if Paul Dunn can do it and get over the big hurdle that is actually executing your game plan even though he's an amateur, as well as he did in 2015. So why not anybody in the field? Because this is the one golf course, I think, where you have a chance. Almost every player feels they have a chance. It's all in front of you. It's not long. It's an intricate, delicate, cerebral challenge, which I think, is one of the most intriguing golf courses to play on. I've been lucky to play it a few times. I still don't quite get what it is that is so wonderful in the eyes of players. But I've heard this before, that an awful lot of players who come to St Andrews and don't quite get it, but eventually get it, are the ones who work it out. And that's because there's far more to St Andrews than the physical piece of land in front of you. There's history, and also the undulations, and the way that you got the double greens, the avoidance of bunkers, as Tiger did so famously in 2000. I just think that it's an extraordinarily open. I also think that Rory McIlroy is the best player in the world right now on form. As in right now, as this week, not necessarily all year, because Scotty Scheffler's record is exceptional, but I think Scotty is playing well, but just not quite at the high that he was at. There's no shortage of players in the world's top 10, top 20, or whatever it is. But look at the last two winners. Zach Johnson in 2015. Who would have picked Zach Johnson? Short hitter, good putter, wasn't even remotely inside the top 20 in ball striking statistics when at the Open in 2015 when he won. He did it with his putter, he did it with lots of other things, and also by thinking his way around the golf course, taking the punishment where it's due, because on this golf course there are so many opportunity holes to make up for things that go wrong. So minimizing mistakes is absolutely huge, because you will have opportunities to make up for them. And then if you look at even Louis Westhuizen back in 2010, I think it was Louis, I have to look up the statistic again. I think it was Louis' 8th or 9th major. He had missed the cut in all bar one, and the one that he had made the cut in prior to the Open in 2010, he had finished 73rd or thereabouts in. He had no form in majors whatsoever coming into St Andrews in 2010, and he blew the field away, 7 strokes. So how can you pick a winner from that? You could say, going back to 2005 and 2000, the Tiger was the best player in the world, and he won around here, but that's Tiger. There hasn't been a player like Tiger since Nicklaus, and arguably Nicklaus will probably tell you that Tiger plays a game that he's unfamiliar with. Certainly back in 2000 and 2005 he did, so he was just so exceptional that he did that. But I just think St Andrews is such an open, and because of that, I'm going to go for Rory. That sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I just think Rory's the best player. I think he's hit a vein of form which is extremely exciting if he can do that thing that Darren Clarke used to talk about, getting out of your own way. And I think Rory has a little bit of getting out of his own way to do. But at the moment, he's putting beautifully, and all the long game bits seem good. Occasionally it goes wrong, and that's why I say containing the mistakes, and then knowing that he's going to have so many birdie opportunities with his length and those 4 drivable par 4s and 9-iron to second, shot greens and par 5s that are out there. I think Rory's got a fantastic chance, but so do to, another 155 players in the field, I think.
Quickly, Greg, you were saying, was it 8 Irish, isn't there? I think playing 8, 9, 8. So again,
you got me there. I think it's 7, is it? I'm not sure.
7, yeah. So again, any of them. So you never know. Yeah, as you said, Paul Dunn, 2015. Harry.
So there you are. So put your money on Ronan Mullarney, ranked 1,806 in the world.
Yeah, might as well. Harry,
anyway, chaps, I hope you all enjoy it. And
Greg, thanks very much for your
time. It's certainly one of the great spectacles, an Open at St Andrews, and this 150th anniversary. Believe me, I've already seen the amount of tentage, the stands, and how it's looking. The fact that they're going to get over 200,000 people around St Andrews over the 4 days. I think it's going to be an amazing spectacle.
That's
great.
Sure.
Thanks very much,
Greg. Thanks a million, and we'll see you later in the week. Please, God.
See you, Ian. Ciao.
Yeah, we'll catch up. Good luck. Bye. Bye.
Bye now.
Ian, very exciting. Is that officially your 2 picks that you're giving me, Fitzpatrick and Zalatoris?
Well, I had, and you know me now, I always like, you have to look for some money going somewhere, right? So I looked at, I was going down through it, and I think it's with Paddy Power, there's 12 places at fifth. Yeah. So 50 odds, but yeah. So look, I think I said this year was Victor Perez, right? Won a short time ago, but he's also won the Dunhill Championship. So he's won there, and he's in a bit of form. And now that we've been just speaking to Greg, and he's saying anyone could win it, I'm nearly even further going with Mr. Perez, and he's 125 to 1
up the road, doesn't he? He's
exactly. And Dundee, exactly, where the last place he would have thought. And Ryan Fox as well. Ryan Fox, I got him 150 to 1, playing super golf at the moment.
Is he that odd? That price?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, this is a couple of weeks back, maybe only a couple of weeks, but 151. But he's playing serious golf. But I think he's very hot and cold to putter. That's the only thing. But he needs 2 or 3 days to get hot with the putter and consolidate the rest and playing.
8 weeks. He's as he kind of said in an interview today. He's literally in the form of his life right now. He's played unbelievable.
Exactly. So
yeah, why not? Why not?
Go on, we must touch on just the JP as well, because you were down there last
exactly.
week. I just didn't get a chance. Yeah,
I'm just going to stick with Lowry, but I'm also going to include Harrington. Harrington's playing great golf at the moment, not just because he won that major on the seniors going back a few weeks ago, but he's playing super golf. He's hitting it as far as he ever was. He seems to have just confidence and the bit between his teeth at the moment. So I'm going very patriotic here with Harrington and Lowry, but I think it's a good shout. Yeah, very good shout. Let those two, I think, like what they did going back in the PGA of a couple of years ago, 2 of them could be getting themselves into contention on Sunday here, please God. But you're right. Let's hop back to the JP. What a spectacle that was for the 2 days that was down there, to see the world's best players in front of your eyes with that strength and depth. There hadn't been a strong field assembled since the Masters last April. It's amazing what JP continues to deliver, both from the point of view of quality of golf on an amazing property that it is, but also the money again that's being raised for Limerick and the Midwest. He's an amazing man, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Yeah, I lived down in Limerick for 6 years. I luckily got to meet the man a few times, actually, because he came in to hit a few balls before going away to the Dunhill Championship. So he's great crack. Like, he's just great crack, and he's a lovely person. And of course he's loved in Limerick and kind of the West over there, because he does raise so much money. It's an obscene amount of money, which is badly needed, but yeah, and I mean we got down last year down to the place, or no, it was 2 years ago now, we got down there to have a look, since it was kind of done up, or if you want, because the last one I was at would have been 2010. It was 12 years ago, so it's completely changed. But yeah, again, to have that field was awesome.
Yeah, and the conditioning of the golf course is just breathtaking. Everything about the place, you could see it from the players that played, and the feedback that they're after receiving, even in the few days after it, like people already pledging their support and guarantees that they'll be back, that they'll play in it again. Obviously, JP puts on a serious show and a serious spread. They get very well looked after there. But, what he's created in a dare manner, and we know from having the head greenkeeper, Alan, on the podcast with us going back there about a year ago, like the golf course and the product and the presentation and I suppose the focus and the investment into what they want to achieve, and that's all going to culminate in 5 years' time. Like, that won't be long coming around. We're going to have some run into that Ryder Cup, aren't we?
Definitely. Yeah, can't wait for that.
We also spoke, and I'm just delighted to bring this piece to people that followed it, maybe watched it on telly or were down there. But I had a quick chat with Sharon Smurfit the other day, and Sharon was lucky enough to be drawn to play with Tiger Woods in the JP McManus Pro Am. So I managed to give her a call a couple of days ago, and I just like people to enjoy this chat because it gives a kind of behind the scenes, report on how did that come about, what was Tiger like to play with, and I hope people enjoy this segment here now. Sharon, thanks very much for joining us on the podcast. Great to have you on. How are you?
I'm good, Harry. How are you? I'm
Recovering.
great. I'm great. Recovering. Yes, you have had a busy week at the start of last week. I think the first question that I'm going to ask you, and there's a very small group of people that have ever been asked this in the world, but what was it like to play golf with Tiger Woods?
Surreal is probably the best word I could describe it, as I've been describing it all week. No, the whole experience was incredible. I was so surprised how friendly he was, to be honest. You know, I didn't expect him to be as friendly and so chatty, and helping us around the greens and everything. He was great. He really was. But looking at the crowds around, it was just, I don't know how they do it every week. How people do it, it's just incredible. The whole experience was incredible.
Yeah, look, a very successful 2-day Pro Am down there for JP again. It's amazing how he does it, and look, he's an amazing man, the likes of which we may not see for a very, very long time again. So we'll enjoy what we have in that JP McManus Pro Am. But you're right. I think, you know, looking from the outside of Tiger's career and the way things have panned out over the most recent years with injury and all this, he seems to have shifted from a personality that is a bit more open and a bit more giving. I suppose when he was at the absolute height of his career, I suppose you need that singular focus, and you know, I suppose he wasn't as giving of himself, be it in interviews or whatever. But I think we've all seen the change now, and to me, walking around there for a couple of days, and even seeing when he played at Ballybunion the other day, he seems to be way more open and way more friendly, which is brilliant, because as a guy that had a career like he did, people want to kind of see that side to him. And to be honest, I don't think it's fake. I think he's just reaching a different stage in his career. But let's wind back to last weekend. So you rocked down to Adair Manor, and we believe that anyone that plays in the Pro-Am obviously is getting royally looked after. So I believe even a good friend of mine, Johnny Caulfield, the TaylorMade rep, was down there kitting people out with TaylorMade gear. But give us a sense of when you arrived and just those initial couple of days even before the Pro-Am started.
Sure. So I had my husband's 50th birthday party on the Friday night. So we headed down on Saturday morning. We got up early and we arrived. And it was, we just arrived into the hotel. We were very lucky to be staying in the manor. Everything was laid on. We were sent immediately over to the range to get our fitted for a brand new set of clubs, which was great. And then we went over to registration and we were given all our gear. We got some t-shirts, bag full of goodies, pink for the ladies, t-shirts, wet gear. What else did we get? We got water bottles, golf balls. The gifts just kept coming, bag tags with our name on it. So we did all that. So that sort of kept us going for most of the day. The hitting balls in the range to get fitted for the clubs. And then we hung around and we just walked around and soaked up the atmosphere, walked down to the tented village to see what everyone else would be, you know, all the facilities that people would be getting, because obviously we were going to miss out on all of that. And we then had a lovely gala dinner. It's a nice dinner that evening. And that was the night of the draw on the Saturday night. So that was good fun, very relaxed, beautiful food in their beautiful ballroom. And just that night was just a whole experience. I think my face said it all, really. Somebody took a photograph of me and just sent it to me and said, your face when I pulled out the ball with Tiger Woods, #1 on it, you know. So it was surreal.
And tell us, as you sat there and that draw started, and obviously there's teams being matched up with pros, had you a wish in your mind? Was it Rory McIlroy? Was it Justin Thomas? You watch a lot of golf, as we all do, I'm sure. So who was your go-to pro, or was it Tiger, or what ambitions or wishes did you have?
I think I would have liked to have played with Adam Scott. Sort of have a
that might be quite popular with the females. Yes, I can understand that.
I sort of had a little wish, and when he was pulled out, there was a lot of groans at the table that he was picked out already. My brother did not want to play with Tiger. We played with him in 2005, and it was beyond daunting, you know. And he said, "Please, you know, I hope we don't get Tiger again." And I said, "Well, I don't really mind if we get Tiger, to be honest. I thought it would be a great experience." this year we had, my son was caddying for me, Mark, and my nephew. So it was a different team. And, you know, they were just saying to me, do you think we'd even get to meet Tiger? Do you think we'd even get to meet him? And I said, well, hopefully during the weekend you will. So it was, yeah, I don't know. The balls just kept being picked out by people, and it wasn't being picked out. There were two buckets. One had players, one ranked 1 to 25, and the others were ranked 26 to 50. And two teams were called up, and I went to day one, and the other guy went to day two, and whoever we picked out each would be swapped over for the alternative day. So yeah, I just stood up on thing, put my hand in, handed it to Keith Wood, and he just looked at me and sort of went, number one. And I sort of looked at him going, like, I had to think, you know, who is, like, and not that who is number one, but obviously the ranking for the Pro Am could have been different for, you know, his ranking for the world rankings. And so I was like going, next to it was Tiger Woods, and I just, well, anyway, that was the end of that. There's no going back from there, you know.
No, brilliant.
I had to get a head around it, you know.
As you said, then we'll wind on a little bit. I didn't actually realize that you'd played with them previously, but that's perfect for what you've just said previously. Having played with them then for the 2 days, and we'll come back to this in a minute about the actual golf on the course, but talk to me a little bit about the change in the guy that you've seen in that 17 years, I suppose, from the point of view. Did he remember necessarily playing with you as much as you did playing with him? He was in the absolute kind of pomp of his career in those early 2000s, 2005. He won the Open that year. But did you see a big change in the guy? Was he way more friendly or way more open?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Not that he did remember us on the tee. Absolutely. He remembered myself and my brother. Obviously, the others hadn't met him. So we were chatting about 2005, you know, because it was a shotgun start in those days. And we teed off on the 15th. And all I could see at that time was water on my right, sea of people on my left. And I stood up with my driver, and he went, I don't think you should do that. I think you should take a rescue or something that was in 2005. It was the best advice he ever gave me. But definitely in personality, he was much more open this time. I think, as you said, he was in the peak of his career in 2005, you know, and it was, even though he was thoroughly enjoyable to play with, and was engaging around the course, he was just twice as much more engaging this time.
Brilliant. And tell us then, out on Monday with those crowds, like, to be honest, as I walked around there for the 2 days, I very much felt, and I'm sure there was a lot of information gleaned by the organisers, this was very much nearly like a trial run for the Ryder Cup that's going to come down the road. But the crowd, somewhere in the region of 40,000 fans, a hell of a lot of those people following Tiger Woods' group and you. How did that feel? Like, how nervous is it standing up on, be it the first or any other hole out there for a matter, or playing a chip shot? Because some of those greens are unbelievable, and the runoffs, and I was looking at them and said, I think I'd be putting a lot of the time instead of trying a chip with so many eyes on you.
Yeah, funny enough, I just didn't get nervous. I think when you know people are more nervous around you, you know, as I said, Mark was caddying. He was really nervous just to caddy. So I think I was being the mother hen, you know, and I was like, oh, don't be fine. You'll be fine, you know. So, and I think when you're playing good golf, it's easier. You know, you can sort of stand up and say, right, just hit the ball, just get the first one off the tee. And the way the ladies' tee box is sort of situated, you know, your back is to the majority of the crowd. So it wasn't too bad for me. I did feel sorry for the guys now teeing off the first, because that was daunting looking. You know, I don't know if I would have hit as good a shot as I did. But yeah, I don't know. I just put my head down. I said to myself, I'm not gonna make an idiot of myself. I want to play good golf today. And I played Adair a couple of times this year, so I was lucky, you know. So I know my way around the place, so which is good.
Yeah, what an amazing golf course it is. Is there any particular tips or stories Tiger shared with you during the couple of days? Did he give you any advice or anything that our listeners would love to hear from Tiger?
Well, I asked him how he was feeling, and he was telling me about his daughter getting her her nose pierced, I think it was. So I think he was more upset about that than anything else. But that was the highlight. I don't think there was. It wasn't really sort of the time or the place to ask him, how he was feeling, or I didn't ask him about his injuries or anything like that. He was always smiling, so he looked well. I don't think he wasn't walking great, but it was good to see him in the buggy because it can help. But it's great to see him playing. Isn't he lucky just to be here playing?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt he is, and the buggy obviously helped, and with next week in mind. And it's funny, we'll have to see how it goes. There's kind of rumours, and maybe that's all they are. Obviously, Tiger going to an Open Championship in St Andrews, and look, there's no doubt he's on the back 6 holes or the back 3 holes of his golfing career, I suppose. But look, it remains to be seen how this week goes for him. He's been out there this morning doing some practice as well, and looks to be struggling on the feet a little bit. But the rumour has been that obviously some of golf's greatest icons, as in Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson, chose St Andrews and an Open Championship to pull down the curtain on their career, and it remains to be seen what will happen this week for Tiger. As you said, it's great that he's there, great that he's able to compete, and he still really turns the needle as regards professional golf. And you got a bird's eye view of that last week. Like, there's so much talent, and the best field that was assembled in world golf this year outside of the Masters at Augusta, and every group that you want to watch, you can watch world class. But yet there's something intriguing and different about Tiger Woods, isn't there?
Oh yeah, and when he sits in the buggy, he just sits so focused straight on, and even when the lady was hit with the golf ball, who actually happened to be a friend of mine, she which is quite weird. She was telling me that he came up to her and he was literally like eyeballing her, saying, "You will be okay, you will be okay." And the real human side of him, was there. But when he sits in the buggy, he's just so focused. Even the next day when I saw him, passing by, he doesn't see outside. You know what I mean? He just looks straight on ahead. And I think he will be focused, and I think his game is there. I think he needs to work. He's obviously going to play in the thing. I hope he doesn't retire personally, because I think he attracts such amazing crowds to venues, and he really is the number one at the end of the day. Of the old school golfers.
Yeah,
great.
no, look, that's for sure. You've been very lucky, I'm sure you know that, to experience it not alone once but twice, but to see him both in the pomp of his career in 2005, now more towards the latter end of it, and a slightly maybe changed personality with everything that's happened through his life. But Sharon, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Enjoy the Open this week. It's going to be a fantastic spectacle.
Yeah, I'm going to head over.
Opium.
Yeah,
Are you heading over?
Yeah, going over on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, we might bump into you at some stage next weekend then. Exactly.
Hopefully.
Thanks a million, Sharon.
Thanks a million. Take care.
And that was Sharon, and we thank her for her time on coming on the podcast. Brilliant insight. Look, as she mentioned, Ian, it's her second time to play with Tiger Woods. She played with him in a previous JP Pro Am as well. So, but still, it's like what I said to her there in the opening line, what does it feel like to play golf with Tiger Woods? And, how many people in the world have ever had that question asked of them? It's amazing, but we've seen it over the last few years, Ian. You've seen it, you've said it to me. The Tiger Woods that we see now is a different personality and a different individual compared to the guy that was absolutely at his pomp and winning, continuously winning majors. He's changed a bit, and I suppose life has changed him, injury has changed him, family has changed him, circumstances of the way his personal life has panned out. He's definitely a different guy, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He is. Different. I mean, the first time I saw him was down there. Obviously, I hadn't been to any other majors or anything like that. The first time I saw him was down there at the JP. And I remember going to the par 5. The par 5 7th. This is that very long dog leg around the water. Maybe it's 7 or 8. I think it's 7.
Yeah, you're bang on.
And here's his tee shot. And I'd been living in Limerick for a while, so I played the course, and now nothing like him, but anyway. So the flag was tight right, So we're basically talking the flag was near the end of the water, looking from down the line at him taking his second shot. It looked like the flag was just hanging onto the edge. So you'd be thinking this is going to go left with an iron or a fairway wood or something, with a bit of left to right and just faded in. And no, off a downhill lie, he decided to draw it out over the water, took it on, and pitched about 3 feet away, finished 6 feet, whatever it was. And it just, I mean, that is the one shot that I always remember from Tiger Woods. Being in the Masters or anything like that, and that chip in at 16, but that shot to me was Tiger Woods. Just different gravy.
Different gravy, fearless, and as we saw and Sharon mentioned there, like still completely turns the needle as regards, the army of people that want to get close to him, want to see him strike a ball, want to see him strike a driver. Like that appeal and that, what's the word I'm trying to say? Just the desire for people to be anywhere near Tiger Woods is still as, awesome as it was 20 years ago. It's an amazing, but like I said, I think he's become a bit more personable and seems to be enjoying it a little bit more. I think there's no doubt he realizes he's on the back nine, if not the back six or back three of his golfing career, I suppose, and is, I suppose, soaking it up. I wanted to ask Greg, and I didn't at the time. You don't think there's any chance that Tiger's going to give us an announcement this week, or that he's going to hang up his boots or hang up his clubs at the home of golf here this week? You don't see that?
I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest with you. No, I don't know.
I just thought if you looked at obviously the injury and that pulling out of the USPGA, and then the right thing of not playing in the US Open, but even the way he kind of struggled and had to use a buggy for the 2 days down in Adair, and you could visibly see how much he was struggling. Now, Greg has so rightly said this course suits him perfectly. He's won around here twice. It's as flat as you're going to get from a point of view of walking fairways and that. But something sticks with me for the years that I've been to Opens here previously. Jack retired here in 2005. I came back 5 years later. Tom Watson retired in 2010. A lot of the icons of the game have chosen here, the home of golf, to bow out. And I don't know. I wonder how many more majors are we going to see Tiger Woods playing. I think he's going to be selective about which ones he plays, be it weather conditions, be it the courses that they're on. And I don't know, something just niggling me to say, we could get a shock announcement.
That he's hanging up completely, or just not playing in the Open Championship anymore? Completely, I think.
Yeah.
Done, finished.
Really? Done and finished, yeah. I don't know, and it's been kind of rumoured over the last week, and you wonder where does that rumour start or where it's coming from. But I think, like, the injury obviously is not really, in Tiger's view, healing as well or as quickly as he would like. And I just think he has a different perspective now. That
seems to be, doesn't he?
Huh?
Seems to be. His chatter, if you want, is a lot more about. Seems to be a lot more about life, living.
Yeah, I think he's a huge appreciation that he has the life that he does have, that he didn't lose that leg, because I think it was as close to that as anything, and he's very grateful that he is in the condition that he's in, even though there's challenges and he doesn't feel he's back as strong as he wants to be. And it's focus on kids and stuff. And look, we've mentioned it before, he's not getting any younger against all these young guys that are out there. He can still do it, absolutely. But I just wonder, I just have a niggle. I wonder, I hope I'm wrong, but I tell you, he owes us nothing. He owes the game nothing. And what an iconic place to do it if he wanted to pull down the curtain on his career, Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully, you get another couple of years then.
Yeah, you'll be
better. The better that he's in, the better that he is. I just think I don't think we'll see him again for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I don't think that. And I may think he might. If the plan is majors, and it is obviously majors that he wants. Yeah, maybe February or something next year. AT&T Pebble Beach, or down in La Jolla there in San Diego. Might see him down there. I don't know. Again, he's getting he's close to 50, though. But
who knows?
Tell me your
plans. We're recording this on Monday evening. at 8:30. So you'll have an early bedtime tonight. What's the travel plans for tomorrow?
Well, I haven't packed my bag yet, Harry. So and that's to be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't. It's been a hectic day. So so I'm going to get off this now. I'm going to have a bite to eat. I'm going to pack a bag, and then I think I'm up at 4, in the car for 5, on the plane at 8:30, and then Edinburgh somewhere around 10 o'clock, and hopefully then in St Andrews something like 12, 1 o'clock for lunch.
Magic for lunch, brilliant. I'm sure we'll hook up for lunch. Yeah, I'm not on duty until 1 o'clock tomorrow. I have an easy little 3-hour shift of a preview show tomorrow. So if you get there any minutes before 1,
I'll be the one heckling you for the next couple of days.
Yeah, no, that's fine, Ian. I look forward to
it.
We'll have good fun, and please God, once this week is all done and the 150th Open champion has been crowned, we'll get Greg back on again next Monday, and we'll chat through it all, and we'll see. Again, we'll revisit the picks. Will Rory win? Will it be Lowry? Will it be Harrington? Or will it be Matty Fitz, Will Zalatoris, or the outside? Who else? Ryan Fox and one more?
Victor Perez.
Victor Perez, yeah. Right, pal, safe travels.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow, right? Look.
Absolutely. See you tomorrow, live from St Andrews at the 150th Open Championship.